It was a crisp autumn morning in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of day where the air feels sharp and the rustling leaves on the ground remind you that life, much like the seasons, is always moving forward. The streets were alive with the muted hum of daily routines, bicycles on sidewalks, joggers passing by, and parents waving goodbye to school buses. Amid this was Charlie, a middle-aged man with a deep frown etched across his face. Charlie wasn't angry. He was frustrated, as he often was. He had a habit of believing that life was perpetually unfair to him. Charlie had just lost his job. Again. It wasn't his first time getting fired, and in his heart, he knew it probably wouldn't be his last. He blamed the economy, his boss, even his co-workers, but never himself. He was heading to the local coffee shop, not for coffee, but to use their Wi-Fi to look for new opportunities. Or, at least, that's what he told himself. As Charlie walked, his eyes caught something unusual on the ground. A wallet. Not just any wallet, though. It was thick, stuffed with what appeared to be a stack of cash. Charlie's heart skipped a beat. He looked around. No one else was nearby. He picked it up, his fingers trembling slightly. The leather was soft, expensive-looking. Inside, he found several crisp $100 bills, a few credit cards, and an ID. The name read David Reynolds. The man in the photo looked about Charlie's age, clean-cut, wearing a smile that made Charlie feel a strange pang of jealousy. For a moment, Charlie just stood there, staring at the wallet. His mind raced. This is my chance, he thought. He needed the money more than someone like David Reynolds, who probably wouldn't even notice a few $100s missing. But then, guilt crept in, though Charlie wasn't ready to call it that. He justified the thought to himself. He slipped the wallet into his pocket and continued walking, though now with a slight unease in his step. At the coffee shop, Charlie ordered a small black coffee, something he could barely afford, and sat by the window. He pulled out the wallet again, this time flipping through it more carefully. Among the cash and cards, he found a folded piece of paper. Curious, he unfolded it. It was a handwritten note. Dear David, I know things have been tough for you lately, and I just want you to know how proud I am of you. You've always been the kind of person who does the right thing, even when it's hard. Don't ever forget that. Love, Mom. Charlie froze. The words hit him like a punch to the gut. He read the note again, and then again, each time feeling the weight of it sink deeper. David Reynolds wasn't just some rich guy who'd carelessly lost his wallet. He was a person, someone who was trying, someone who was loved. For the first time in a long time, Charlie felt ashamed. Not just for what he was about to do, but for the person he had become. He thought about all the times he'd blamed others for his problems, the times he'd convinced himself he deserved more than he'd earned. He thought about David and that note from his mother. Charlie didn't finish his coffee. He stood up, put the wallet back into his pocket, and left the coffee shop. It took some effort, but Charlie tracked David down. He found an address on one of the credit cards and decided to deliver the wallet in person. When he arrived, he hesitated at the door, wondering if he should just leave it on the porch and walk away. But something told him to knock. The door opened and there stood David, the man from the ID photo. But he didn't look like the confident, smiling man from the picture. His eyes were tired, his clothes a bit disheveled. Charlie handed him the wallet and mumbled something about finding it on the ground. David's face lit up with gratitude. He thanked Charlie repeatedly, offering him a reward, but Charlie refused. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't expected. Pride. Not the fleeting kind that comes from luck or selfish gain, but the lasting kind that comes from doing the right thing. As Charlie walked away, he thought about the note again. He wondered if anyone in his life had ever seen him the way David's mom saw him, as someone who always did the right thing, even when it was hard. He decided, in that moment, to become that person. The lesson, Charlie realized, wasn't just about returning a wallet. It was about the kind of person he wanted to be. Not for anyone else, but for himself. And maybe, just maybe, life had been fair to him all along. He just hadn't been fair to it.